Welcome to the lecture number 17 of the course. In the lecture 15, I started the power system stability, where we are mainly concerned with the rotor stability of the system, that is called as the transient stability. And in the first two classes, we just discussed the basics about the power system stability, means what is electrical torque, what is shaft torque, or what is mechanical power, what is accelerating power when system is in steady state. So now we can continue with the next topic, that is how rotor dynamics in a synchronous generator, how they are affected, or how the rotor will behave of a synchronous machine will behave under steady state condition and under some transient condition. Transient mean maybe a fault or a load change. And the second topic which will be covered in this lecture is equal area criteria, though there are many subtopics which I will cover, like we will discuss about the swing equation, which is nothing but a part of the rotor dynamics of a synchronous machine. Then what is critical clearing angle, what is critical clearing time. So let us start with the rotor dynamics of synchronous machine. And this rotor dynamics of synchronous machine, it is nothing but it is the swing equation. Okay, so suppose I am saying I have two fields. This is my resultant field, phi resultant, and this is my rotor field, phi f, and angular separation between these two fields is delta or delta m. And under steady state, both the fields are moving at synchronous speed, which is omega sm. You can also denote it by omega s. Okay, so both the speeds are moving at synchronous speed. Suppose I am saying at this point, okay, when time t is equal to 0, this is the position of the resultant flux. Okay, now I am saying that after time t, let theta be the position of the resultant flux. What will be theta? What will the position of the resultant flux after time t? When t is equal to 0, theta was equal to 0. When t is equal to t, theta is nothing but omega sm into t. Okay, so at time t, theta will be omega sm into t. Now I am saying both these fields are rotating at the same speed. So what will be the new position of theta with respect to this this theta resultant, initial position of theta resultant? It will be theta f. New position of field flux will be nothing but omega sm into t plus delta. Okay, because this earlier position of field flux with respect to resultant flux was delta m. Now both the fields, after some time, they are rotated by some degrees. Okay, so if this flux, it will move by a distance, it's new, or I can say if theta is the resultant flux position at time t, so what will be the field flux position at time t? Field flux position, I am denoting it by theta f, which is nothing but omega mt plus delta. Okay, because this field flux, it also rotates by this same angle, omega smt. Okay, so I will continue here. So I am assuming let theta be the resultant flux position after time t. So theta is given by omega sm into t, and let theta be the position of the field flux after time t. So theta f will be equal to omega smt plus delta m. So take the derivative of both of this equation, the field position. So d theta f upon dt, which is nothing but omega sm into t plus d delta m by dt. Okay, so this d theta f upon t dt in steady state, what will be d theta f upon dt? It is nothing but omega, speed of the rotor flux or field flux. So under steady state, what will be the I am saying under steady state, will delta change? Because this flux is resultant flux is rotating at a speed omega, and phi f is also rotating at a speed omega s. Okay, if both the fluxes are rotating at the same speed, okay, so what will be the angular separation between them? Angular separation between them will remain constant. So what will be d delta by dt, d delta m by dt at that time? D delta m by dt will be 0. Okay, so I am saying that at when d theta f upon dt is equal to omega, that is speed of the field flux, at steady state delta m is constant, therefore omega will be equal to omega sm, that is synchronous speed. Okay, so at steady state delta is constant and both the fluxes are moving at the same speed, so theta f will also rotate at the same speed at theta, this phi f will rotate at the same speed as that of phi resultant, okay, which is nothing but omega s. So that's why I am showing here omega is the speed of the rotor and it is equal to omega sm, which is the synchronous speed. Okay, so I am saying again, taking the derivative of this equation, d square theta f upon dt square, derivative of this is 0, so I will get d square delta m upon dt square. I am saying it is equal to alpha, where alpha I am saying it is the angular acceleration. Okay, so let us now calculate the torque. We know that accelerating torque is equal to shaft torque minus electrical torque. Okay, somewhere it is called shaft torque, somewhere it is called mechanical torque. They both are same. Okay, so we also know that accelerating torque is nothing but moment of inertia J into angular acceleration. Okay, which is equal to, from this equation I can write J alpha is equal to T shaft minus T electrical, and alpha is nothing but d square delta m upon dt square. Okay, so J into d square delta m upon dt square is equal to shaft torque minus electrical torque. This is from equation number A. This is equation number A. So what I am doing, I am multiplying the above equation by angular velocity omega on both sides. Okay, so multiplying both the sides by angular velocity omega, what am I getting here? I am getting J omega into J d square delta m by dt square is equal to omega T shaft minus T electrical. Omega into torque into speed is nothing but power. So this is shaft power minus electrical power, where Jm is equal to, I will replace with J moment of inertia into omega by another constant that is called inertia constant m. So the above equation can be solved like m into d square delta m upon dt square is equal to shaft power minus electrical power. And we know that P electrical is equal to EV sine delta upon X, where EV upon X is nothing but P max. Okay, maximum power. So we know that M, it is not always constant. Okay, because M will depend upon omega speed, and this omega, it is not always equal to the synchronous speed omega Sm. Okay, M is omega, I am saying it is the rotor speed, but it is not always equal to the synchronous speed omega Sm. Omega Sm is the synchronous speed. So instead of M, we will use some other constant. Okay, that is the inertia constant H. Okay, so what is this inertia constant? Sorry, it is not inertia constant, it is called H constant. The formula for the H constant, and one more thing is there, that this value of M varies from machine to machine, it varies, whereas value of H, it doesn't vary too much. Okay, so H is equal to, given by stored kinetic energy at synchronous speed in megajoule. Please remember that it is the stored kinetic energy in synchronous speed, not at any other speed. Omega, when omega is the rotor speed, when it is equal to omega Sm, then we can calculate H, that is stored kinetic energy at synchronous speed in megajoule divided by rating of the machine in MVA. So what is the stored kinetic energy? Nothing but 1 by 2 J into speed, what is synchronous speed? Omega Sm square. Omega Sm is the synchronous speed divided by rating of the machine, which I am taking S machine. So from this equation, I know that J into omega Sm, it is nothing but M. Okay, I calculated here M. J into omega Sm is nothing but M. So putting J into omega Sm equal to M, I will get this equation 2H upon omega Sm is equal to M divided by S machine. Okay, so this is in actual values, not per unit values. So substituting the value of m from this equation into this equation, what I am getting here, I am getting 2h divided by omega sm d square delta m by dt square is equal to shaft power minus electrical power divided by S machine. Rating of the machine in MVA. Note, this is the rating of the machine in MVA, so this will give me the actual values. Okay. In order to convert it into per unit, what should be done? We have to convert everything into per unit, means dividing this is in actual value, so in per unit we don't take this S machine, we write it 2h divided by omega sm d square delta m upon dt square is equal to P shaft minus electrical power in per unit. This is in mechanical radians. Okay, because I am using sine omega sm, this is synchronous speed in mechanical radians. When I am using the synchronous speed omega s, then it is in electrical radians. So both are in per unit because we are not using S machine here in the denominator. We are dividing this value by the denominator and we are getting the quantities in per unit. And omega sm means synchronous speed in mechanical and omega s means synchronous speed in electrical. Okay. So please remember this equation, m d square delta m upon dt square is equal to P shaft minus P electrical, because we are going to use this equation further for equal area criteria. Okay. So what if I will put the value of omega s is equal to 2 pi f. Okay. If I will put omega s is equal to 2 pi f, I will get h upon pi f because 2 will cancel. D square delta m upon dt square is equal to P shaft minus P electrical. This is in radians. So what if we want to convert radians into degrees? Simply instead of pi, use 180 degree. You will get this equation in degrees. So as you can see, this above equation, it is a second order differential equation. Okay. Wait a minute. It is a second order differential equation and this equation is called as the swing equation. Okay. So this equation can be represented by a set of two single order differential equations. How it can be represented? It can be represented like that. H upon pi f in square of d square delta m upon dt square, I will write d omega by dt, because d omega by omega is nothing but d delta upon dt. So it will become d square delta m by dt square. So H upon 180 f pi f into d omega upon dt is equal to P shaft minus P electrical. And what is d delta by dt? It is nothing but rotor speed minus synchronous speed, omega minus omega s. D delta by dt is nothing but omega minus omega x. So you know that this equation electrical, P electrical, it is nothing but P max sine delta. So it is a sine term. Sine term means the system is non-linear. So it is a non-linear second order differential equation. So swing equation is a non-linear second order differential equation. Okay. So this equation, it is called as the swing equation, and this equation, it describes the dynamics of the rotor dynamics of the synchronous machine. Okay. This equation, it describes the rotor dynamics of the synchronous machine. This equation 1 or this equation, they both are same. So these equation describe the rotor dynamics of a synchronous machine, and it is a second order differential non-linear differential equation where damping term is absent. Why is damping term absent? Because in transient stability analysis we assume that the machine is lossless, and we also assume that the damper windings are ignored in the system. Okay, so number one, we assume that the machines are lossless and that the damper winding is absent. So this assumption leads to a pessimistic result in transient stability analysis. And what does it do? So this damping helps to stabilize the system. You know, if there is damping in the system, the oscillations will die out. But if there is no damping, the oscillations will not die out. So of course, damping must be considered in a dynamic stability study. Since we say that the electrical power, it depends upon sine, it is a sine curve. So it is I told you, it is a non-linear second order differential equation. Okay. So let us see here. We know P electrical is equal to P max sine delta. In transient stability analysis, we assume that the shaft power remains constant. Shaft power will not change. Okay, shaft power or mechanical power. This is the sine curve. So this is the maximum value of the electrical power. This is the electrical power curve, PE, like P electrical. So at this point, you can see PE and P shaft are equal. I'm saying this point is delta node. So when PE and P shaft are equal, so what is the accelerating power? Accelerating power is 0. If accelerating power is 0, so omega rotor will be equal to the omega synchronous. Okay, means rotor will rotate at synchronous speed. So at that time, if rotor and stator both will rotate at rotor and will rotate at a synchronous speed, means the speed at which the resultant field is rotating. So angular separation between them will remain constant. So this is a stable point. Okay, because at this point delta is constant and d delta by dt is 0. So delta is not changing. Delta is fixed at this point, as long as there is no disturbance in the system. Okay, as long as P shaft and P electrical are equal, there is no disturbance in the system. No, we have this another point here, which is nothing but pi minus delta naught, because this is pi here, this is 0 here. So pi minus delta naught. This is not 60, it is delta naught, pi minus delta naught. So this point, this is an unstable equilibrium point, which is a part of control system where you have to do the eigenvalue analysis. So which is not the part of this course. Okay, so I am saying that let us analyze the graph for the transients means for us is a case where the system is subjected to some transient, by assuming that the shaft power is constant. So I am saying this is a generator, this is a machine, and this is the machine reactance, and this is a point where I am saying a fault occurs in the system. So if a fault occurs at this point, what will the electrical power? Electrical power P max sine delta, it will abruptly reduce to 0. Okay, so I am saying let there be a transient due to a short circuit. Due to this short circuit, there is a transient which is nothing but a fault. So the moment there is fault, what will happen to electrical power? It will become 0. Okay, I will show it here. Suppose this is shaft power, this is electrical power. Okay, so I am saying initially suppose it was delta naught. Okay, at delta naught P shaft was equal to P electrical. Now I am saying that at delta naught suddenly a fault occurs. So what will happen? Electrical power will become 0. So at this point, electrical power 0 means what will happen? This point will shift to this point. Electrical power 0. Okay, so at this point electrical power is 0 na? So at this point I am saying shaft power is still there, but electrical power is 0. What will happen? Shaft power is there, electrical power is 0. What will happen? Rotor speed will increase. If the rotor speed will increase, what will happen to delta? Rotor speed will increase means rotor will move in this direction. Okay, if rotor speed will increase, delta will increase, it will move in this direction. Okay, so how it will work, I will explain one by one. So I am saying that this is the resultant flux, this is the field flux. Initially the separation is between them is delta naught. Okay, when delta is equal to delta naught, electrical power torque is equal to shaft torque. This is rotating at a speed of 50 hertz, and this phi f, it is also rotating at a speed of 50 hertz. This is just before transients. The moment there is a transient in the system, the moment there is short circuit in the system, what will happen to electrical torque? I have shown electrical in dotted form because I am saying the electrical torque is 0. Electrical torque is 0, only there is shaft torque. So suppose there is shaft torque, what will happen? The speed of rotation of phi f will increase. It will increase from 50 to 50.1. Sorry, I'm not saying okay. I'm saying it will increase. Speed will then from 50.1 to 50.2. Okay, and this means delta will continuously increase. So delta, this delta, it depends upon speed. Means delta depends upon omega s minus omega r. Okay, the moment omega s increases, omega r increases, delta increases. Okay, the moment these two become equal, omega s becomes equal to omega r, then speed will become constant. Okay, delta will become constant. If omega s will be equal to omega r, means both are rotating at the same speed, then the delta will remain constant. Okay, so delta depends upon the speed mismatch Okay, and speed depends upon what? Speed depends upon the mismatch between the shaft torque and electrical torque. Speed depends, here I am saying delta depends upon speed, and speed depends upon T shaft minus T electrical. Okay, it depends upon T shaft minus T electrical, and this T electrical, it also depends upon delta T electrical, because we know that P is equal to EV sine delta. So upon X, which is EV upon X is nothing but P max. So sine delta, P max sine delta, P is equal to P max sine delta. So if there is delta, as delta increases, sine delta increases. So electrical torque increases. Okay. So electrical torque depends upon delta. If delta increases, electrical torque increases. If delta decreases, electrical torque decreases. So let us see how this rotor will behave, how it will oscillate. Okay. How the rotor will oscillate. Suppose I am saying that initially when the system is stable, means when the system is operating at this point, okay, delta is equal to delta naught. I am saying omega s was 50 hertz and omega r was also equal to 50 hertz. Delta was 30 degree. Okay, T shaft was 50 Newton meter. T electrical was also 50 Newton meter. This is the steady state condition. Now suppose I am saying there is a short circuit in the system. I told you that electrical power will reduce to zero, means electrical torque will be zero. So electrical torque will be zero at fault. The moment electrical fault will be equal to zero, what happens to speed? Omega r will increase. Rotor speed will increase. The rotor speed will increase from 50 to 50.1 hertz. Okay. If rotor speed will increase, omega r is increasing, means here the rotor is moving at a higher speed as compared to this field. Okay. This moves at a higher speed as compared to this. So what will happen to delta? Delta will increase. If delta will increase, what will happen to? Delta will increase 30.1 degrees post. Shaft power is constant. Okay. When torque was zero, electrical torque was zero. Still I am saying that electrical torque is zero, but at the same time the shaft power cannot increase instantaneously because there is a rotor inertia. It will increase slowly. Okay. Again, electrical power torque was zero. Shaft torque is still there. Rotor speed will increase further from 50.1 so to 50.6. If rotor speed will increase further, then delta will further increase. As long as there is no electrical torque, the rotor speed will increase continuously and delta will also increase. I am showing it here. Okay. Here I am showing when delta naught 30 degree. Okay, here I have a fault here, so electrical power will reduce to zero. So what will happen? Electrical power is zero, shaft power is there, rotor speed will increase, so delta will increase. At this point I am saying it is 30.1 delta. Now as you can see, the rotor speed increases. Okay, shaft torque is still absent. The shaft torque is there and electrical torque is still there. So I am saying shaft torque is present and electrical torque is equal to zero because fault has not been cleared so far. There is still fault in the system. So I am saying when still this rotor speed will further increase because shaft power is there, but electrical power is still zero. So rotor speed will further increase, omega r will further increase. So I am saying omega r will increase from 50.1 to 50.6. So because of increase in omega r, omega s is still 50, omega r is 50.6. So it's still delta will increase. So I am saying at 30.6, delta increase to 30.6, shaft torque is still 50 and electrical torque is 0. So I am saying at delta is equal to 30.6, I am clearing the fault. Clearing the fault means from this point, clearing the fault means now there is some electrical output. So at delta is equal to 30.6, what is the electrical power? Electrical power is this. At this point, means from this point you will move straight to this point. So at this point, what is electrical power is more than shaft power, means electrical torque is more as compared to the shaft torque. So if the electrical torque is more, here I will show corresponding to this point. I am saying no, when the fault has been cleared at 30.6, the fault has been cleared. Okay, the fault has been cleared. Now the electrical torque will be more than the Newton this shaft torque. So electrical torque is more than the shaft torque. What will happen to the rotor speed? Rotor speed will start decreasing. But as I told you, rotor speed, it is a huge inertia. It has a huge inertia. It cannot reduce instantaneously. So if from 50.6, rotor speed will reduce from 50.6 to 50.5. Slowly it will reduce. Okay. If you will see here, still rotor speed is 50.5 and omega s is 50. Still rotor speed is more, so delta will increase further, but it will not increase at a rapid rate as it was increasing initially. Here at 30.1 to 30.6, it will increase slowly, 30.7. Okay, so 30.7, because omega r is still greater than omega s, but it is no more than what it was when there was fault in the system. It is less than that. Okay, when there was fault in the system, it was 50.6. No, when the fault has been cleared, it is 50.5. So what will happen to delta? Delta will increase further. Shaft torque is constant. Now as you see, as delta increases at this point, as delta increases further, means curve will move in this direction. Here I am saying, if delta increases further from 30.6, delta increases further, means this electrical torque curve, it will move in this direction. It will move in this direction. Okay, if it is moving in this direction, so what is happening to electrical power? It will increase, because P is equal to P max sine delta. Delta is increasing, P electrical will increase. P electrical will increase means electrical torque will increase. So electrical torque will further increase, 51.3. If electrical torque will increase, what will happen to the rotor speed? Rotor speed will decrease, but it cannot decrease instantaneously. So it is decreasing from 50.5 to 50.3. So still omega r is greater than omega s. So delta will increase again. So delta will increase to 30.8. Okay, delta will increase to 30.8. Now I will explain this table on the next page. Here I am saying when electrical torque is 50.1, omega r is 50.3, delta is 30.8. Okay, so now I am saying this, if yes, okay, electrical torque is this. No, I am saying suppose at 30.8, if I will move beyond 30.8, at 30.8 I am saying the electrical torque, when torque is equal to 51.3, okay, so omega r will reduce again, omega r will reduce to 50. Okay, because it cannot increase, because omega r is slowly decreasing. It cannot decrease instantaneously. It is slowly decreasing. Firstly it was decreasing. No, the rate of increase is very slow, and finally omega r is here 50. So when omega r is 50 hertz, what will happen? Delta will remain same at 30.8, because omega s is equal to omega r now. Okay, and torque will be 51.3 Newton. Okay, now I am saying at this point 51.3 Newton, you can see T electrical is more than T shaft. Okay, T electrical is more than T shaft, but omega s is equal to omega r. Okay, omega s is equal to omega r, so the rotor speed will now decrease, because number one, electrical torque is more than shaft torque, and omega s is equal to omega r. So it is more. So what will this do? Electrical torque, it will further reduce the speed of this rotor speed. Okay, so maximum delta increase to 30.8. No, it will not go beyond 30.8. Okay, there are two reasons. Number one, omega s is equal to omega r, and torque, electrical torque is no more than the shaft torque. So what will happen to omega r? Speed will decrease. Okay, speed will go from 50 to 49.7. So no, omega s is greater than omega r. If omega s is greater than omega r, so delta will decrease. So delta will become 30.6. Shaft torque was 50. No, delta is decreased from 30.8 to 30.6. What will happen to torque? No, electrical torque, it will also decrease from 51.3 to 51.2. But still you can see here, so means we moved from this point to this point 30.6 where fault is cleared, to this point, to then this point 30.8 where electrical torque, where omega s is equal to omega r, but still electrical torque is more than this. So what will happen? We will again start moving in this direction. Means from this point we will move in this direction. Here I am showing from this point to this. Here I am showing from this to this, and here I am showing in this direction back. Similarly, we will see that still electrical torque is more than this shaft torque. So speed will further reduce. So it is 49.5, which is less than the synchronous speed. So delta will further decrease, 30.5. Shaft torque is still 50, and electrical power depending upon this delta will be 51, which is less than 51.2. Means electrical power is also moving on in this direction. Okay, so I am saying it is 51. Okay, so it is 51. Okay, but what is happening? Still it is more. Okay, so what will happen? Still electrical torque is more, 51. So what will happen? Electrical torque is more and omega r is 49.5. What will happen? This electrical will further reduce the speed of the rotor. So rotor speed will decrease from 49.5 to 49.2. It will decrease till it is less than omega s. So delta will decrease to 30 degrees, say 30 degree, and T shaft will remain 50 and T electrical will be equal to 50. Okay, T electrical equal to 50 means again we are at this point. T electrical is equal to 50 and delta is equal to 30. Delta is equal to 30 means this point, this initial operating point. So we again reach to this initial operating point. Okay, but as you can see that as initial operating point, still rotor speed is less than the synchronous speed, which is 49.2. So if synchronous speed is less than rotor speed 49.2, so what will happen? It will decrease the delta further. Okay, because delta cannot stop here. Delta, it is a rotating machine, so delta will further move because of the inertia. So it is 29.7. Because of inertia, it cannot become from instantaneously 0. So omega r will be 49.2. So it will further reduce the rotor angle delta. And if delta reduces, electrical torque again reduces, 49.8. Now if you can see here, electrical torque, it is less than the shaft torque. Okay, therefore electrical torque is less than the shaft torque, but so therefore rotor will again accelerate. So if rotor will accelerate, what will happen to omega r? Rotor will accelerate. Suppose from 49.4 it will accelerate to 49.2. It will accelerate from 49.4. If it is accelerating, still omega s is greater than omega r. Okay, but it is less than this, so it will delta will reduce further, 29.6, and further the electrical power will reduce, suppose 49.7. Still electrical power is less and omega s is less than omega r. What will happen? Omega r will reduce, omega r will increase. Electrical power is less than the shaft power. Shaft power is more, so it will start again accelerating. So it is 49.7. Still there is a mismatch, so delta will again reduce. If delta will reduce, electrical torque will again reduce. If electrical torque will reduce, shaft torque is more, so what will happen? Omega will further increase. If omega will increase, omega r will increase. So what will happen to delta? Delta will also start increasing now, because shaft torque is no more than electrical torque and omega r is equal to 50. So this delta will again start increasing. So the thing is that how it will move in on the curve. We will start from this point. This is the curve. This is the shaft. I am saying from this point fault occurs. We move to this point. Then from this point here we are clearing the fault. We are moving in this direction, and because of the rotor inertia we move to this direction, and at this direction we are saying that shaft torque and rotor torque are equal. So we move again in this direction. Then it will move in this direction, and again then back in this direction. So the system will oscillate from this point to this point. It will continue oscillating. Okay. So this is how the rotor will behave under any fault condition. So this was page number 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Now let us move to page number 6. So I told you to remember this equation: m into d square delta m upon dt square is equal to p shaft minus p electrical. I'm using the same equation here. Okay. So I'm saying m into d square delta m upon dt square is equal to p shaft minus p electrical, which is nothing but p shaft minus p max sine delta. Okay. So multiplying both sides of this equation by 2 d by dt of delta m. So it will be 2m d delta m upon dt multiplied by d square delta m upon dt square is equal to 2 p shaft minus p max sine delta into d delta by dt. This is d delta m here. Okay. So look at point K. I'm saying that at point K, delta was again constant. Okay, which I showed previously. If delta was constant at this point, what was d delta upon dt? It was 0 here. And at this point, d delta by dt was also 0. Delta becomes constant at this point, and at this point, these 3 points. Okay. So if I am writing this equation here in this form: m into d delta m upon dt, d delta m by dt ka whole square is equal to 2 p shaft minus p electrical d delta m by dt. So if you will look at this equation, if you will open this equation, you will get this equation. Okay. So there is no difference. Open this equation, You will get this equation. So what I am doing after that, I am integrating this whole equation. So integrating this whole equation, integral m d delta m upon dt into d delta m by dt whole square dt is equal to twice integral p short minus p electrical d delta m upon dt multiplied by dt. So this is a definite integral. So limit on a definite integral, it will start from transient to any point within the transient. Means we can start from transient is at delta is equal to delta naught to any point within the transient. This is a transient period now, from this to this and from this to this. We can start from this point to any point within the transient. Okay, so we are starting from the start of the transient when delta at t is equal to, when t naught, when delta was delta naught, to any time t when delta is equal to delta. M into d delta m upon dt into d delta m by dt whole square dt is equal to twice t naught when time t is equal to t naught when delta was delta naught to any time t when delta was equal to delta p short minus p electrical into d delta m. Okay. So what I am doing, I am writing it like m into d delta m upon dt whole square, because we know that when okay, yes, d delta m upon dt whole square, if you will which is equal to 2, okay, which is equal to 2 multiplied by, because we have two terms here, one term will be equal to 0 when delta is equal to delta naught, d delta by dt will be equal to 0 because the system is in steady state. Okay, so which is equal to twice t is equal to t naught to delta when t, just this negative sign means just before the transients, p short minus p electrical into d delta m. So I can write it m into d delta m upon dt ka whole square is equal to twice p short minus p electrical. So no, here in this case I am using only one term because I am saying it, I started when t was equal to when t was equal to t naught. At that time delta was equal to delta naught. So at that time d delta by dt was equal to 0. So the second term here it was equal to 0. So I am taking only the one term here. So at point k also d delta by dt is equal to 0 at point k. So if I am saying I am taking the limit up to a point delta or point k where d delta by dt was again equal to 0. So m into d delta m by dt ka whole square is equal to twice delta naught to delta p short minus p electrical d delta equal to 0, because at this point again d delta by dt was equal to 0. So this will become equal to 0. From this equation I can calculate, I can break this equation into two terms and I can take one term on this side of the equation. So I will get delta naught to delta p short d delta is equal to delta naught to delta p max sine delta d delta. So this is nothing but the area under the p shaft and delta curve, and this is the area under the p electrical and delta curve. Okay, I'm trying to say here. Okay, I will explain it in the next page. So what is the point? Point is that the point k, any point k where area made by the shaft power is equal to the area made by the electrical power. Okay, at that point delta remains constant and d delta by dt remains 0. So point where area made by the shaft power becomes equal to the area made by the electrical power, delta at that point remains constant, and this keeping means this area equal to this area, this is called as the equal area criteria. Okay, and this is equal area criteria means a point, there is a transient in the system, so rotor angle will increase when you will clear the transient or when the fault is removed. So the electrical power will increase and the electrical power curve will move up to some point. That point where the area made by the shaft power and area made by the electrical power curve, when both these areas will be equal, we will say that it is the equal area criteria, and at that point the rotor angle delta, it will remain constant. Thank you.